This was a season that had so much promise, and it all fell apart.
Disaster.
Toxic. Tragedy. Armageddon.
No regrets. It happens. People want to have some hope of what may happen in the future, but it's hard for me to say.
How do you know
Durant has had enough?
when it's time to go?
Requested a trade.
Let's run this course. You fell for the Porsche. You hop in the Porsche and get on the road.
I can't worry about what people say. I just focus on me.
I'm built different, man. I feel different. Even chill different when I whoop. We laugh and I breeze past and I might blast on the future. When they find out that you lie, you're out of time.
We now welcome in senior NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski. So, Woj, what stage are the Durant trade conversations in?
Well, in my experience, Malika, there's two stages: the day a player requests a trade, and then the day he's traded. So sometimes it takes you looking back at the process to know how far into it you are. But certainly the Nets at this point, they're engaged on a number of fronts for Kevin Durant deals, and a deal of a player of this stature, typically they don't come together quickly. Now, if this trade request had been made prior to the draft and there was sort of the deadline of a draft and the ability to build a deal around picks in that window, it might have moved quicker. But now that we're in the offseason, training camp's still a couple months away, I think that buys the Nets certainly time to continue kind of canvassing the league. And, you start to get into negotiations with teams. They don't always move quickly. The goal of the Nets to get as much as possible. The goal, obviously, of teams who want to trade for Kevin Durant is to give up as little as possible. And certainly that can grind things, to where it's not necessarily a day-to-day back and forth among teams. I do think getting to Summer League, Sean Marks and, you go through the list of other executives who are going to be in Las Vegas, most of them starting Thursday, Friday. I think the face-to-face can be helpful, especially when you're trying to put together more complicated deals that might require 3-4 teams.
Absolutely. So how closely are the Nets and Kevin Durant working together right now, if at all?
Yeah, Sean Marks, the Nets GM's, he's in close contact, regular contact, I'm told, with Kevin Durant's manager, Rich Kleiman. And so they've got a good working relationship. I'm told they've continued to discuss different scenarios and discuss, how they can figure out moving forward here. So I do think that dialogue with the Nets and Kevin Durant's rep, that's been the case here in the days and time leading up to the trade request, and now since Kevin Durant asked out.
So what is the Nets' strategy here? When we're looking at the possible dominoes that can fall, right? One that continues to come to mind is Kyrie Irving. Is it possible that we could see Kyrie traded first?
It is possible, Malika, and obviously you don't have as wide of a swath of teams, as many conversations, not nearly as many going on for Kyrie Irving than you do Kevin Durant. And I think it's more isolated. The Nets have been engaged with the Lakers really here in the last week. And if they got to a place where there was a deal that made sense that the Lakers wanted to do, that Brooklyn wanted to do, then Brooklyn's got to measure the timing of it and how it would impact where they think they are with Kevin Durant. So the possibility that they could trade Kyrie Irving before Kevin Durant, it exists. There's also a possibility that they don't trade Kyrie Irving. And listen, that they don't find a deal as quickly as everyone might expect for Kevin Durant. Like, all of those things are still on the table. But I think certainly you've got to take them as two individual potential deals. And if you're going to trade them both, how do you get max value for both? The timing may land differently for either of them.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.